So I tried to have a Hinge date and he messaged me and was like, hey, I'm still down to go if you are. And I was like, yeah, of course. And he said, I actually just lost my credit and debit cards and I'm waiting for them to come back in the mail. Is there any way that you can pay and I'll give you cash later? I said, yeah, of course. Just meet me at the restaurant. I'm not going to the restaurant because what the fuck do you mean? What do you mean? I don't even actually want to meet you. I'm literally just here for free food. And you're telling me I have to pay and then see you again to get cash? Absolutely not. Sounds like a scam if you ask me.
He wasn't really broke. He was just testing her. He was just testing her. And it's crazy that men have to do that nowadays. But you hear what she said in there, right? This is another reason why men don't try anymore. And this is why they ditch food dates completely. She just wanted to get free food. But now she would have to go on a date with you, even though she doesn't really like you, pay for the food, and then see you again to get the cash. Hell she look like? This is why dinner dates, no go. He wasn't broke, because I know what guys are going to think. That's weak anyway. No. Another thing I want to make perfectly clear. Real men don't give a damn about what women want once they know the truth. And we're going to get into that. Let's get into the next one.
I tried booty calling a man last night and he called me and was like, hey, so I actually think that it would make more sense if I took you to dinner first before we did that. I was upset. All I wanted is the man to take me to dinner, and now I'm upset that he won't come over. But we could still do dinner later. But tonight, I want to hang out. He said, I'd rather not. I'm the problem. But I'm not going to ever say that I'm the problem. I'm going to blame all the prior men in my life that led me to this moment to now be this problem. So it's all your faults anyways.
Now, let's get into this. Why was she upset with this guy? Because she wants fun time with him and a date afterwards. So doesn't it make sense why I always tell you guys you have to get physical? We need to see if the sexual attraction is there. Don't you also see how being too nice and trying to be intentional, it literally shies them away from you, dries them up. They don't really care about you like that. But then sometimes they're going to want intentional dating from guys that they're not really into. But this guy, she's really into him and he wants to be intentional. But she wants to sleep with him first, date second. Once guys understand the truth, they're not looking to put in a bunch of effort. The guys who are still in fairy tale Disneyland want to put in all the effort. This is why women don't want you to know the truth, because there goes their offers. But this is also why men don't put in effort, because once they see this, once they experience this a bunch of times, they're like, oh, it's supposed to go this way. Everything that I've been trained to believe is a lie. It's a lie. And once again, women do not stand on anything. Due to circumstances, that's when things will change. Due to how she feels, that's when things will change. Due to her attraction level for said guy, that's when things will change. Let's get the next one.
Okay, I am a 36, almost 37-year-old single female living in San Diego. And I was seeing a guy for over a month and could not get this guy to ask me out on a proper date. It was like pulling teeth. He wanted to stay at home, get takeout, just be on the couch. And I'm just curious if I'm the only one going through this. And at the end of it, I mean, we're no longer talking. There was about 11 days of radio silence to the point where you're questioning, is the guy dead? No, he found someone else. So, yeah, I guess I'm just scratching my head for all the single females out there. Are the men just not putting in the effort anymore?
This man didn't have to plan any dates because you were actually interested in him. You were actually interested in him. As opposed to a guy that you really don't have that much interest in, you would want all these dates from him because you don't feel like you're getting anything in exchange, all to get on camera and complain about this guy. Once again, guys, not the guys that want to take them on dates and be sweet to them. What they do is they talk about the guys that are indifferent to them, the guys that they're seriously interested in that just aren't that interested in them. That's what they talk about. Or the guys that they thought they were giving a chance that ended up not really thinking they were a big deal. Any sort of indifference to them in their demands, they will always remember you. And I know what a lot of guys think. At the big age of 36, women don't act like this. Absolutely hilarious. Let's get the next one.
So I went on my first date of 2026 the other day, like probably a week ago. And it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. And it also like really wasn't a date. And I was kind of annoyed because like this man had been asking me out since like had to be like September of last year, right? Consistently asking me out, and then he finally came up with like this clever way to ask me out, and I finally gave in literally a week ago. So and all the time he was asking me out, right, you would think he would have like planned something, like this is what I'm gonna do when I take her out. Like you had all this time to figure something out. And you know, when we did end up going out, like it was a compromise because it was like the only day I had to go out and he already had plans, so I kind of like got put into the plans. But then afterwards I chose where to eat, I bought the food, and it's just like, how do you like ask to take me out, literally like had to be a dozen times, and not have anything planned, and let me pay for the food and you don't even offer to pay for it? Crazy.
She thought that this guy was beneath her, talking to her since September, chasing her to get a date, all to give him a chance. See, once again, this is their attitude towards men, that they're giving a chance. This is why if she doesn't have genuine desire off the rip, go away. Okay, NVM. Because this is how they're going to look at the situation. So now Burl hits the Uno reverse card on her. How are you going to let me pay for the date and plan and this and that and the third? Because he could obviously tell that you were not that interested in him. So he played along and got a free meal. Players are going to play. She played the game a little bit better than you. Let's get the next one.
There was a man, let's call him Toxic Finance Bro, because he is toxic and he works in finance. We matched on Hinge a few weeks ago and we exchanged a couple of messages, but I ended up ghosting him for no reason in particular. Actually, one thing that I did find a bit sus about him was he kept being like, what are you doing tonight? Do you want to get drinks tonight? And I didn't like that. It was giving kind of hookup energy. It was not giving intentional date planning. But other than that, I had no real reason for ghosting him other than the fact that I had several other matches and I can only talk to so many people at once. Fast forward a week later, it's a Thursday night and my friend and I are in Acme. And a guy approaches me and he says, hey, I would love to buy you a drink. And I was like, sure. And, you know, I did not recognize this guy. And then he introduced himself and said his name. And that's when I put two and two together because his name was quite unique. And I realized, oh my God, we matched on Hinge. And I told him, I was like, oh my God, we talked on Hinge and I ghosted you. And he was like, oh my God, yeah, I remember you. Anyway, we really hit it off. I think we're both just really enthralled by the fact that we had been brought together unexpectedly like this. And so we were talking for ages and then we started making out, and we were making out in the corner of Acme for, you know, an hour or two. It was a while. This man was saying all these things to me. He said to me, I can tell that you're a high value woman, and so I want to take you on an amazing date. And I said, yeah, sure, like I like the sound of this. I was a bit disappointed when he suggested that we just go for drinks at Bar Pissolino. If you're not aware of it, Bar Pissolino is a drink and coffee spot in the West Village. It's very casual. You can't even make reservations. They don't even have proper tables to sit. It's more somewhere that you would like walk in and grab like a quick aperitivo or something. It's not a date spot, and it's also not even open late. For a date, if you're going to do drinks, if a man is being intentional about the planning, I would expect him to pick somewhere where you can make a reservation and it's like a nice cocktail bar. So it was giving kind of low effort. But you know, I decided to go along with it. He said, let's meet there at 8:30. Fast forward to an hour or so before the date, he texts me and he says, hey, I'm running a bit later because I have to stop by my friend's birthday and wish him happy birthday. So I'm going to be a bit more like 9:15. I'm kind of annoyed by this because I'm like, well, if you knew you had your friend's birthday, then why did you try and schedule a date on the same night? And of course, what's convenient for him is because he picked a casual walk-in spot, he can keep pushing it back as late as he wants because he doesn't even have to be there for a reservation time. Anyway, we finally meet at 9:45. So he has pushed it 1 hour and 15 minutes later than we originally agreed to meet. So when we did finally start our date, we had a really nice conversation and we had, again, really strong chemistry, which I was expecting because when we had met at Acme 2 days prior, we did have really good chemistry. The conversation was really good, but then after an hour, Bar Pissolino was closing because they close early. So they were closing up and the guy said to me, okay, would you like to go find a different bar or do you want to just go to my place? And normally I would not be comfortable going back to a guy's place on essentially the first date. But because it was 11 p.m. on a Saturday in freezing cold January, and I knew that whatever bar he would find for us to just go to at short notice wasn't going to be good vibes, it was probably just going to be a random dive bar, I was like, there's kind of no point just for the sake of going to a second place. So I just said, look, like whatever you prefer is fine. So he said, okay, let's go back to my place and continue hanging out. And I said, okay, fine. So I said, I'm just going to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom, I came out and he said, hey, I'm really sorry to do this, but my friends that I was with before I met you just now, they just texted me that they're about to go out. So I want to go meet up with them and go out with them. So I have to go now.
Nothing matters. What matters is she sexually attracted to you or not. Check this out. So you weren't into him because he didn't plan a date. You ghost him, but now you're into him still without any date. But he planned the date and you didn't actually like the date, but you still hooked up with him before there was any date. They don't stand on anything. They don't stand on anything. See, what happened was she thought, okay, because he's not in front of me, and this happens a lot with women, they can play games with you through the internet, Instagram, dating apps, but when they're face to face with you, there's more attraction there. Because everything's in front of them. They got to make a split-second decision as to on the app. Sometimes they like to be warmed up or whatever. She tried to reject him, but when she was around him, she was sexually attracted to him. And this story is funny because she was willing to go back to his place, even though she doesn't do that. And she probably doesn't kiss on the first date too, but she was willing to do that without a date. She didn't need him to put in any effort when she met up with him. Well, she bumped into him. She didn't need any effort from that dude. She didn't. All to turn around, right? When she comes back out here, she's going to tell a guy, I don't kiss on the first interaction or the first date. I don't usually go to guys' houses. I don't do that. Really? Oh, really? This is why dudes don't put in effort. Because see, the guys that don't put in effort that they're complaining about are the guys that they want. And guys that they want have had interactions like this time and time again.